Oh, yeah. The NFL draft and rookies. Hell yeah. Oh, yeah,
Podcast off the rails already.
But there is not a chance in hell Justin Fields is finishing in the top 10.
There
You know what,
go.
Mikey? Shut it.
He wants
Why
it.
not?
You don't want the smoke.
He's Calvin Johnson. He's Calvin
Oh,
Johnson.
good
Oh,
God.
my
Yes,
God.
yes, yes, and yes.
What are we going to do with you?
It just, it adds a little extra flavor to the podcast.
I think you're disrespecting David Njoku.
Thank God
Yeah.
for Joe Flacco. That's all I can say. I'll help the owners. Don't draft Kadarius Toney.
I have to give the people what they want. I mean, come on. I'm going to milk it. I'm going to milk it for all it's worth.
I'll give you something to milk.
Let's rock and roll.
What's up, MHA owners? Let's take a look back on the week. That was week 5. How's everyone doing on this Tuesday night? Todd, Broncos are 3-2. You got to be excited about that.
Absolutely, and it's all because Bo Nix, everybody. Well, on the defense, of course, but Bo Nix, everybody.
Wow.
Bo Nix.
He was about to throw the defense out in the trash.
Hey, but hey, that's the defense is showing up, and that's probably the main reason why we're winning. But Bo Nix keeps showing flashes and keeps getting better. That's all I care about. Just keep progressing. Just keep getting better and better. See, it's developing quarterbacks. Let him go through his lumps, and then he gets better and better, and we're all kosher.
Are the Broncos all kosher, Miguel? I don't know what that means exactly, but maybe you know.
Hey, I mean, they just keep getting better and better, unlike Todd's fantasy team.
Ooh.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's good.
I'm sorry, Todd. I know, you had won so many in a row, and now, what is this, 3 now?
Yeah. It's three.
Join me in the Pishadoo, Todd. Join me in the toilet. It's fun down here.
Yeah, in the trough. Cool.
You don't have to worry about waking up at 2:30 to check your waivers or anything like that. It's great. You get sleep all night. Not have to stress about things.
It just goes to show.
Mhm.
Sometimes Yahoo Sports can be correct.
Oh man,
I am
go there.
Yahoo Sports can still go F itself in the face, but I'm not finishing last. Thank you very much. But hey, I was 1-5 at this point. Okay, I'm 2-3 right, so I'm doing a little bit better. So I have to find a new analogy to get my season rolling a little bit more. Okay, still gonna be the Q, but got to figure out another one. Be all right.
All right. Well, there you have it. Let's get into some news.
I don't understand what the news is. It's just like, hey, here's a bunch of you can't fix that happened that was horrible.
Not a lot of news, surprisingly. I don't know if we were relatively injury-free or it's because it's Tuesday and we haven't heard a lot of things. So if you guys know anything, feel free to chime in. But what I got to see was Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice going to be done for the season. He repaired his LCL, which is good news for next year because he didn't really tear an ACL or an MCL. So positive vibes for Rashee Rice, but still out for the season. Thanks, Patrick Mahomes. Vikings running back Aaron Jones left his game early on Sunday due to a hip issue, but is only considered week to week, so not to be super serious, it sounds like. How about Drake May? Going to be starting in place for Jacoby Brissett, who wasn't getting it done with the Patriots. Saints quarterback Derek Carr will miss multiple weeks after suffering an oblique issue, or injury, I should say, on Monday night. And Russell Wilson expected to pull in a full practice tomorrow on Wednesday, and that he will work with the second team. So it looks like Justin Fields will remain the starter against the Raiders in week 6. That's all I got for news. Miss anything else, gentlemen? Any injuries from your teams that I missed that concern you?
Well, what is it with Eric and his backup quarterbacks constantly getting hurt?
I don't know. But, Derek Carr probably held on to the ball too long, as he was doing all game from what I saw. So, whoops. So,
Yeah, whoops.
I don't know.
I guess you.
Yeah, that's all I got on the news front. Should we get to the recap then?
Yep.
All right. Week 5 recap. As we mentioned a little bit before, the Hot Tamales fell for the first time this season. And it took a record-breaking performance for that to happen. Kilgore Trout scored an MHA record, 207 points, in a 60-point win over Mikey's squad. That 207 points is the most in the one quarterback era of the MHA. We used to run 2 quarterbacks at the very start, so there was much higher scores. But from what we can tell, during the one quarterback era, 207 points, MHA record. His QB1, Joe Burrow, piled up 73 points on 30 completions, 5 touchdowns. Every other player for Kilgore Trout had 10 or more points except for Colby Parkinson, but he had 9.6, so close enough. His wide receiver duo of Garrett Wilson and T. Higgins scored 49 combined points. The Tamales got good days from Dak Prescott, Josh Jacobs, and Derrick Henry, but the day belongs to Kilgore Trout, who improves to 4-1, while the Tamales fall to 4-1. Mikey, just give us some of your thoughts on the game. It just seemed like the touchdowns kept rolling up on you from Kilgore's starting lineup.
Yeah, from everywhere you went. And it started early and often with that London game where Garrett Wilson, 13 catches and scored a touchdown. And then Kilgore had most of his guys in the morning. And it was just like constant touchdown, 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 touchdown. I knew I was in trouble. My team is good, but I mean, 207, like you said, is a record. It's tough to handle. So, man, all I could do is, congratulate Joe. Good win. You beat the number 1 team. Hopefully I get to see him again.
Yeah, could be a preview of the championship. We'll see. Next matchup, Notorious CUP also improved to 4-1 after their 128-114 win over the Butterfingers, who fell to 2-3. Kyler Murray rushed for 83 yards and scored 45 points, while Kenny Walker brought in 7 receptions for his 11 points. Todd's squad did well with his Denver defense pickup, who scored a touchdown on the way to 20 points, but a subpar outing for Brock Purdy, who only tallied 34. Deontay Johnson's big day in week 4 might have been an anomaly, scoring only 4 points this past week. And it's probably back to the tight end board after Zach Ertz only scored 2, only had 2 receptions. But at least Todd saw Brandon Ayuk do something. He had 8 receptions for 15 points. Todd, your thoughts on your loss this week?
Well, Brandon Ayuk has a pulse. That's cool. But Purdy decided he wanted to throw 2 picks, and it just wasn't what I was looking for, what I was expecting. And I thought Stephon Diggs would, kind of, ball out against his former team, but only 10 points. And that was even after Nico Collins got hurt. Of course, he scored a touchdown on his way out, jackass, and so forth. But it just wasn't, just what wasn't my week. And I mean, I was down to 28 points going into Monday night, and I had Kamara, so I was like, okay, Kamara is very capable. I mean, compared to the 46 points I needed from Gibbs the previous week to win. I mean, I knew that wasn't going to happen, but I thought, okay, 28 points from Kamara, that's very possible. I mean, Kamara put up 40 points, already this season, so 28 points, is very possible. But that game was that game was all over the place, and just kind of fell short. So I'm 2-3, and kind of back to the drawing board a little bit. And, but again, I was, 1-5 last year. So, it is very capable. It's very possible to, kind of dig myself out of this hole compared to a 1-5 hole that I was in last year. So, just have to, figure out another analogy. Got to figure out another analogy. The cube still may be in the bullpen, but I gotta figure out another one to kind of dig myself out and get back on track.
So, I mean, analogies aside, like it's a little bit different though. I mean, are you at all worried about, you had Brock Purdy last year, you've got him this year, but with no McCaffrey attached, I don't know. I mean, it's a little bit different for you.
It is, and I've already kind of made that decision for this coming week, because obviously Purdy's on a Thursday night game. So I've made a decision. I'm gonna, because obviously Thursday night games are always tricky, but I'm gonna go with Jaden Daniels regardless of what happens on Thursday night with Brock Purdy. If Brock Purdy puts up Kirk Cousins type numbers, I'll have to live with that. But I have to try something else try something else. And Jaden Daniels is one of the hottest quarterbacks right now in what he's doing. So got to try something else. So we'll see what happens.
2-3 Todd trying something else. The NWA, they scored the second most points on the weekend, finding their third win on the season, defeating Cooper's Cousins by a final of 150-110. Lamar freaking Jackson, ladies and gentlemen, 67 points. He had 26 completions and 4 passing touchdowns. George Kittle, the league's best tight end, caught 8 balls, one of those for a touchdown towards 17. Nice day for Cooper Cousins' wide receiver DJ Moore, who got 2 touchdowns for 22 points. But Marvin Harrison managed just 3. Keenan Allen snagged just 3 receptions. Dylan's team falls to 3-2, while the NWA improves to 3-2. Also 3-2, Aaron's squad, who took down the Lemonheads 140-114. Trevor Lawrence, his best game of the season, recording 53 points. Michael Pittman Jr. prefers Joe Flacco over Anthony Richardson, as the Colts wide receiver put up double digits of 12 points. Despite being questionable all week, Brian Robinson Jr. once again reached 10-plus rushing. Reached 10-plus. I don't know what I was trying to say there. Brian Robinson once again reached double figures, adding 2 touchdowns this week. Eric's team got a paltry 37 combined points from Derek Carr and Chris Olave. And Bucky Irving, who was coming around, sucked to the tune of 5 points. Line Rip stays close with the leaders at 3-2. Lemonheads still not doing well at 1-4. Chad Powers fan club scored a big 149 in week 5 thanks to 31 whopping points from Jamar Chase. And how about 20 points from a tight end? Tucker Kraft scored 2 touchdowns on 4 receptions. And Kareem Hunt seems to have taken over the lead at running back duties in Kansas City. He scored 17 points on 102 rushing yards to go along with a touchdown on Monday night, I should say, to help Miles' team take the victory. So big-time performance by Hunt. Eaton W's had the good Mike Evans this week as the Bucs wideout tallied 20 points. Brock Bowers looking good. He had 18 points and 8 receptions and a touchdown, but Breece Hall and another bad week, just 6 points. And George, I didn't want to play hard Pickens, only pulled in 3 receptions for 4 points. And how about the Gonzo Cats, who got their first win of 2024 by defeating the Belt Sainers 125-115, despite just 25 points from Josh Allen. David's squad got back-to-back nice weeks from DeAndre Swift and his 17 points. And how about double figures and back-to-back weeks from Kyle Pitts and Kansas City's defense that scored 11 points on Monday night in the 10-point win for the Gonzo Cats. So big time there. Belt Sanders, of course, had his slew of Chiefs on Monday night, and they combined for 64 points. But his slew of 49ers didn't help too much. Just 1 point from Juwan Jennings and 2 points from Deebo Samuel. So the Gonzo Cats on the board in terms of wins at 1-4. Belt Sanders fall to 1-4. So, Doe of the week. I think there was only one team that I saw. Mikey, did you see anybody else, or was it just one for you too? Or did you not look and I just should tell everybody?
Yeah, go ahead and tell everybody.
Eaton W's lost by 10.57 points and left Darnell Mooney on his bench. Mooney had 26. Of course, big time on Thursday night. Everybody ate on Thursday night under Kirk Cousins. 9 receptions, 105 yards, 2 TDs. And, of course, leaving George Pickens in the starting lineup, who doesn't seem to care he's playing football. He had a mere 4 points. And so that big difference would have given Eaton W's the win, but instead he ends up with the loss. Tough break, Kevin. Tough break. All right. How about we get into some studs?
The cream of the crop. Nobody does it better.
Mikey, I'll let you go first. Who was Studley in week 5?
Joe Burrow was certainly Studley.
Yeah, it seemed like it.
Yeah, I figured, Baltimore defense, it's a divisional matchup, and I know Burrow was playing at home, and he's playing well, but
Against the Ravens?
my goodness, 5 passing touchdowns, almost 400 yards passing, like, just incredible. And what hurt it even worse is that he had T. Higgins as well, who had 2 touchdowns off of Burrow. It just, yeah, I mean, you're looking at almost 100 points combined between the two against the Ravens defense. Shocking.
Who would have thunk it? He could have beat me with just those 2 guys. That's impressive. That is impressive. He would have beaten me if you put Garrett Wilson in that mix too.
Yeah.
Impressive stuff. Yeah. And despite all of that, Baltimore won the game. Todd, you want to give me a stud?
Yeah, let's go to the wide receiver that Joe Burrow threw two of those 5 touchdowns to, in Jamar Chase. 31 points. Telling you, I think one of the best wide receivers in football. Sometimes I think he's better than Justin Jefferson at times, but 31 points. He just, I mean, Jamar Chase is just a baller, plain and simple. Just get him the football and good things happen, plain and simple.
Yeah, for Chad Powers fan club. We were talking about this guy having a couple dud weeks to start the season, and now he's had back-to-back stud weeks. Might be all the way back.
Mm-hmm.
Big time there. Gonzo Cats. We can talk about DeAndre Swift, who was pretty terrible. Yeah, and this is kind of back-to-back weeks. We've mentioned his name on kind of the stud performance. I was ready, like, oh, well, he was a big mistake. We were putting him in that Miles Sanders conversation. And instead, he decided to kind of wake up and just in time. I guess it'd be better if he would have gotten the win for Gonzo Cats last week, but didn't. But 25 points 2 weeks ago, 17. He's had some easier matchups, I would say, but he had an easy matchup against Indy too and only put up 5. So he'll get another chance to see if it's real. 3, he has the Jacksonville Jaguars next week. So we'll see, but he seems to have turned things around. Mikey, how about another stud? Maybe against you?
No, it's not going to be against me. It'll actually be against you.
Oh, fun.
I got to give some love to Aaron here. You know, one of the key contributors to his team and one of the big reasons why he's 3-2 is his defense. Minnesota, you know, and this was one of the things we always talk about, you know, drafting defense early, and you just never know what's going to happen. Like, Aaron's always one of the last ones to do it. I don't think anybody even had the Vikings defense on their radar in the draft, and they have been number one by a ton. I mean, this is a defense that's had at least 3 sacks in every game but one. They have 2 defensive touchdowns, at least 2 interceptions in every game except for one. They have just been incredible. I mean, they're leading all defenses by 13 total points, and it has helped him pull off some pretty close wins. So kudos to Aaron and kudos to that Minnesota D.
Todd, another stud?
All right, I'm going to go with G's team. Lamar Jackson, 67 points. I mean, he just keeps putting up video game type numbers every single week. I mean, some of the throws he makes are just phenomenal, and yeah, Lamar Jackson looking like another chance for another MVP this season.
I wouldn't say he's putting up MVP numbers every week. He's put up solid number. I mean, he's better than my quarterbacks, but he's been solid. He had a 53-point game, 39, 39, 40, and then a 67. But honestly, the way that some of these quarterbacks have played this year, maybe Todd's right in that regard. We were always concerned about his completions, and we've seen that, right? The last couple of games, 12 completions, 13 completions. But he has been running the ball incredibly well. And this week, really, I mean, he had 55 yards rushing, so that's 5 extra points or 5.5, whatever the whatchamacallit, fractional scoring says. But he was actually pretty phenomenal with his throwing this week with 26 completions, 348 pass yards, which is a season high, and 4 touchdowns, which is also a season high. I mean, he had 5 passing touchdowns coming into this weekend. And so something about Cincinnati they have a lot of injuries on that side of the ball, and he was able to exploit them, to say the least. I'll just mention Kilgore Trout's Garrett Wilson, who was kind of another guy that we weren't sure we just saw. That was one of the news things. Do you bring it up? Is it fantasy worthy? I don't know, but Robert Saleh got fired as the Jets the head coach here today. And so, even before that, you were like, wow, man, was something wrong with the offense? Aaron Rodgers hasn't looked good. Garrett Wilson was drafted, I think, in the 2nd round, if I'm not mistaken. Because it would have been Kilgore. Maybe it was on the 3rd. Anyway, he was pretty highly touted coming into this season and had some okay numbers. But, man, 24. I mean, Minnesota we just talked about the defense, right? I mean, they're 4th against wide receivers. But I think that was game script for them because they fell behind Minnesota so early. that it was just got to start throwing every down, and they were able to do that. So Garrett Wilson, 13 catches for that season high at 24 points. Anybody else that we want to mention before we move on to the duds? Anything else that you guys want to mention?
Well, I do want to mention DeAndre Swift.
Sure.
Just in the fact, like, after 3 weeks, I mean, he was a big story as far as being one of the bigger duds. And then the last 2 weeks, he's been pretty incredible. And Chicago's one of these teams that has got a really terrible schedule. I mean, they just came off, games against the Rams and Carolina, which are bad, but you look at their schedule and they've got, Jacksonville, who's not a good defense. Washington's not a good defense. Arizona's not a good defense. Like, this is something for these Bears players, Swift, DJ Moore, that can continue for the next couple of weeks.
Odunze?
Yeah, we'll see.
Since someone just traded for him on this podcast.
Yeah, sure did.
I think Todd's checked out. Let's go over to the duds.
This is the worst. You are the worst. I hate looking at your face. I want to smash it.
Todd, we'll start with you this time.
Yeah,
Who stunk it up this week?
Keenan Allen. I'll say that to the ends of the earth. He is horrible, terrible in every way possible. Only 4 points.
Wow. Every way possible, as a human, as a golfer, as a driver, every way possible?
Well, I mean, he's just not very good. Either that or he's just not very good in the offense. I don't know.
He was coming off an injury, right?
Yeah.
Is that not a good enough excuse?
No. No, it's just
when he has played, he hasn't played well. 5 points in week 1, and he was out with injuries. Week 4, little less than 4 points. 4 points again in a good matchup. They scored 36 points, and he only had 4 total points. Maybe Todd's right.
It's just too much
terrible at math.
Yeah.
Manners are bad.
Yeah, he's probably better at math than me. No, it's just the inconsistency with him. I just can't trust him enough every single week where he can put up double digits and double digit points. So it's the inconsistency with him. That's my only thing. He's probably a very nice human being. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying it's just too inconsistent, and I wouldn't want to play him every single week. I want to kind of have to wait a week, to put him on the bench and see if he can kind of show me. Have a show me week where it's like, all right, it's like, yeah, you talking stuff. I'm gonna go out and ball out. And then
I don't think that he wants to play. Dylan wants to play him every week either. That's why he keeps trying to trade him.
Well, in that case, just I'd either put him on your bench or drop him. I mean, at that point, he's not doing anything for you. Somebody picks him up, good on you. But I wouldn't pick him up.
Mikey, you're a Keenan Allen apologist. Would you pick him up if he was out there in free agent land?
I would.
Yeah, of course you would.
Yeah.
I have a soft spot for him.
I think you do. Talk about a dud for me, Miguel.
All right, I'll let you go with your guy.
Thanks.
So
really
instead,
sticking it to Lansing today. I appreciate that.
No, I'm just giving you a chance to vent your frustration.
I'm gonna go. Team stunks.
I'm going to go with the combo meal here with, Allen's 49ers. Played both Juwan Jennings and Deebo Samuel, which combined for 4.1 points. It's safe to say that after a few decent weeks that the Juwan Jennings experiment was good while it lasted, and it's time for him to hop off and play someone else. Deebo, I mean, we know Deebo is boomer bust. This was one of the bust weeks, and it really hurt Allen. He lost by 10 points. Not a good week for Niners receivers not named Ayuk or George Kittle.
Just means more Ayuk points. Yeah. And hopefully some
Maybe you could
touchdowns.
trade him to Allen for something good. How about that?
Oh wow, man! It's amazing what 1 week can do, right?
I know.
All of a
Todd's
sudden,
all the way back.
Yeah, I mean, he's all the way back on the Ayuk train now.
Yeah, well, hey, I mean, granted they didn't win the game, but just get it to your best playmaker. I mean,
I would argue that Debo's the best playmaker, but
no, the best
maybe that's why they lost.
No.
So when Ayuk scores 4 points on Thursday, then
Okay, then the tune might change. No, the best play. No, the best playmaker on that 49ers team. We all know this. Whenever he comes back, it's McCaffrey. You could fuse Jennings and Debo and Ayuk and
I'm
George.
talking about guys that are playing right now,
I
not
understand.
hanging out in Germany examining their hamstrings or
I understand
Achilles or whatever the fuck it is.
but,
or doing commercials, because I see him in every gosh darn commercial.
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean,
He's got other things on his mind, his hot wife or girlfriend, whoever that is, and then making money on these commercials.
Okay. But he is the best playmaker, regardless when he comes back.
We know he won you a championship, all right?
Damn
1 in
right.
5. We've heard it before. Like,
Yeah. And I'll say it again. 1 in 5.
Don't make me throw a fork at you, Todd.
A fork? Why a fork? I thought you would throw like a Rubik's Cube at me.
A dud for me. I'll get to my team in a little bit, but Cooper's Cousins, Jordan Love, 34 points. I mean, 15 completions, a couple pass touchdowns, but man, against the Rams too, after a big time 68 in week 4, I guess he had some issues continuing drives against the Rams on the road. He had just 37 against Philly on the road, so I don't know if it's a road thing with Mr. Jordan Love, but they do have Arizona at home next week, so maybe the better days ahead for the Packers quarterback, but this was a pretty putrid outing. Mikey, I don't know, you started Wicks, right? Like, Wicks was supposed to be this big-time pickup for everybody, and I know they didn't have Christian Watson, but, like, this was supposed to be a high-scoring game coming out of Green Bay, or at least not coming out of Green Bay because they were in L.A., but against the Rams for the Packers, whatever. But I don't know. That just seems like that's a bad day, and Cooper's Cousins suffered because of it. He lost that matchup because his boy was not ready to play this past weekend.
Made a really dumb throw on a pick 6 too.
No, see, there you go. I didn't see a lot of that game. So yeah, so there you go. Cooper's Cousins. You have another dud there, Todd, that you want to complain about?
I'm gonna go with Deontay Johnson. 4.75. Come on. Come on, Andy Dalton. Like, I thought this was gonna be a little different. Like, where was it? Where was the 17 points from last week? But yeah, not the Deontay Johnson we've seen the last 2 weeks. As I was expecting it to be. So yeah, there's my dud right there on my team. Thank God I don't have to play him.
Pretty
next week.
disappointing. I mean, I didn't get to see any of the game, but it didn't seem like Dalton put up big numbers either. So I don't know if Chicago's defense just ravaged him and never gave him an opportunity, but didn't seem like anybody did incredibly well there for Carolina. Back to good old Carolina ways.
Yep. They're just, that's what they do. That's what they do.
That's what they do.
That's what they do.
Yeah. Oh, I mentioned before, Chris Olave, Derek Carr, big mistake on both ends to run. Just not good. I don't know if it wasn't his very first pass, but on the first drive, good old Derek Carr saw a little pressure, freaked out, and just threw it up for grabs. And it's never really good after that. 34 points for Derek Carr. I think 2 or 3 for Chris Olave. Just stinks. Real bad football.
Yeah, well, good thing you get Jared Goff coming back. So now you don't have to worry.
Yeah, but Olave, what do I like? That becomes a problem.
Well, hey.
Okay. We saw some big time quarterback performances this week. Maybe we should check in to see who the best quarterbacks are in the MHA. So how about we do a little MHA trivia?
Time to play the game. Time to play the game.
Well, we'll just kind of go back and forth, talk about who are the highest scoring quarterbacks in our league here this season. And we'll start with Todd.
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson, never heard of him.
Yeah.
Well, you are correct. Lamar Jackson, 4th in the league, 240 points so far this year. He's got 1,200 yards passing, and he's got 98 completions, which is second lowest amongst the group here. But 9 touchdowns, 1 interception, 363 yards rushing, and 2 TDs. So Todd jumps on the board first with Lamar Jackson. He's up 1-0. To you, Miguel, who's a top scorer. Whoever gets to 4 first, we usually do 4. Whoever gets to 4 first wins. So to you, who's the top scoring quarterback in our league?
How about Dak?
Dak Prescott. That's your boy, right?
Yeah.
Correct on both fronts. He is 5th place. He's got 228 points, 1,400 yards, little over 1,400 yards passing, 8 touchdowns, 4 picks, 1 rushing touchdown. So well done, Miguel. Dak on the board. We are tied at 1-1. Over to you, Todd.
Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels, you really think he's in the top 10?
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Maybe. I don't know. He is 6th, however, right behind Mr. Dak Prescott. Daniels, the guy Todd's going to run out this weekend. 222 points this year. A little over 1,100 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks. But he's got 300 rush yards and 4 rushing touchdowns. So big time for the Commanders in that organization. Back to Mikey. Who you got for me?
I'll say, despite his really bad performance in week 1, I'll go with Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow. Yeah, absolutely. He actually is the top quarterback. 249 points. Yeah, it's 1,370 yards, 12 touchdowns, folks. 12. Just 2 picks, 39 yards rushing. So he's leading all of them.
Hey,
And this was the guy that Mikey said would finish first.
Exactly.
I knew it was coming. We are all tied at 2-2. Back to you, Todd.
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray. Is he in the top 10? As I go down, looks like he is 10th. Way to go, Todd. So Kyler Murray.
Comic relief tonight, fellas. Comic relief.
It was just that he was so surprised that he got it. Oh, thanks, Todd. I kind of needed that today. Hey,
that's what I'm here.
That was hysterical, but it was hysterical. Kyler Murray at 199 points. He's also low on the completion list this season, but he also has 247 yards rushing. So Kyler Murray, Todd is up 3-2. You got to tie things up here, Miguel. Give me a quarterback here in the top 10.
We'll go with Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield, are you sure?
He's been good.
Yeah, you're right. He's 3rd, 241 points. So NWA with Mayfield and Jackson. Maybe he needs to trade those guys, at least one of those guys away. He's got 1 more point than Lamar Jackson at 241. 1,100 yards passing, 11 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 2 rushing touchdowns as well. So well done, Miguel.
Last year's evidence shows he will not be trading them.
That's probably true. 3-3 your score. Todd, a chance for you to win MHA trivia. You give me a quarterback in the top 10.
Top 10. Let's go with...
Did I hear clicking?
Is Todd trying to cheat right now?
That's not a no.
I don't know. Kirk Cousins.
Oh, man.
Kirk Cousins?
Kirk Cousins. The gentleman that just had that big old day. And the answer is correct. He is actually, 3, 6, 7, 8. With 211 points, 1,300 passing yards, 8 touchdowns, 5 picks. He's got -2 rushing yards on the season. He's never really been known for his passing, or his rushing, I should say. So well done, Todd. You win MHA trivia.
Yeah. Woo!
Some of the guys that you did not get off this list, although you guys went, what'd you guys go? 5 for 5, 6 for 6. So 7 for 7, I should say. CJ Stroud in the mix here. He is 7. What do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th. And Daniel Jones. Daniel freaking Jones in the top 10. He's 9th. 200 points. A little over 1,100 passing yards, 6 touchdowns, 3 picks, and 108 rush yards. How'd you guys not get Daniel Jones?
Well, look, I mean, there was bye weeks this week. I'm sure that Jalen Hurts
Oh.
would have been there had he not been on bye. He's been all
I
right.
don't know. He's been terrible.
But from a
I guess if
fantasy
you would have gave
points
him 40
perspective, he's
points, he would have been.
okay.
Yeah, you're right. If he would have been 40 points, he would have been in that mix. You're
Turns
correct.
it over a ton, but he gets points.
Yeah. Looking at the schedule for next week: 4-1 Hot Tamales versus 2-3 Eaton W's. 4-1 Kilgore Trout taking on 3-2 NWA. 4-1 Notorious CUP taking on 1-4 Lemonheads. 3-2 Cooper's Cousins versus 1-4 Belt Sanders. 3-2 Lion Rip versus 2-3 Chad Powers Fan Club, and 2-3 Butterfingers versus 1-4 Gonzo Cats. And we can't forget about more bye weeks this week. No Chiefs, no Rams, no Dolphins, and no Vikings. So there you have it. Week 5 in the books. Week 6 coming up. Mikey, how you feeling about your matchup versus Kevin?
I mean, I get
Any
Barkley.
bye weeks you have to worry about?
Actually, no. Like,
Oh, hey,
I'm,
there you go.
I'm
The
pretty
rich
well.
get richer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty well set. I get Barkley back. You know, hopefully I get Neighbors back. Fingers crossed. You know, feeling
I'm gonna be
pretty
crossing
good.
my fingers for you. Absolutely not.
How about you, Eric? How you feeling? No Kyron Williams.
No,
Yeah.
my team stinks. Nothing I can do. This team's in the P-should-do. I can't stop saying P-should-do after seeing on The
Well,
Sopranos
think
yesterday.
about it this way. You know, there is light at the end of the tunnel because as Todd
Yeah,
is
baseball season will start
No,
up in
I'm saying as Todd has
January.
mentioned, you know, 5 times. Like, so
Oh,
you
Lord.
lose next week, you
See,
will be 1-5.
So what?
That's the magic mark.
That's the magic number. That's what's going to turn it around.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That's what you got to do. You got to believe.
Yeah.
You got to believe.
Whatever you guys say. Todd, how you feeling about your matchup this week?
Well, I get Jameer Gibbs back, so that helps.
That'll solve all the problems.
I mean, hey, it solves part of it, and
Yeah.
you know, well, you know, I'm gonna, you know, not roll the dice, but you know, play Jaden Daniels instead, and see what happens. See what happens. See if I can get some of that rookie
Why
magic.
the F not?
Exactly. Why not? Why not? Yeah. Try
So
something.
are we playing tight end roulette again?
Yes.
Isaiah Likely is going to be back on the Butterfingers.
Yeah, that's actually one of the tight ends I put in.
Yeah.
For,
Yeah.
Yep.
So it didn't work the first time. How confident are you in round 2?
Hey, if it doesn't work in round 2, maybe I'll try round number 3. Third time to charm. Gotta try something, Mikey. This tight end thing
So he'll
is just
drop him after the week and then pick him back up for waivers.
who knows? I mean, hey, if it was up to me, I'd put a vote in for next year to get rid of tight ends. But you know, that's just you know, playing this tight end roulette sometimes is frustrating. Sometimes you hit it big. Sometimes you just want to, you know, throw something at the wheel and scream. So either way.
Either way.
Because got either that or you got to try something new. Got to try something new, as I like to say. Got to try something new.
There you have it. Todd's going to get back to the tight end wheel. And then maybe Malik Neighbors is back for Mikey's big time squad. There you go. Week 6 coming around the corner, ladies and gentlemen. The season rolls on. The Broncos are 3-2. Mikey's 4-1. What a season we're having this year. So, for Mikey Renault, Todd Diamond, I'm Eric Lansing. We'll see you next time on that MHA podcast.